Welcome to the season 1 ending finale episode.
Yeah, right here. How's it going, y'all?
It's going good, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's Rusty.
Dude, we're done. Season 1 wrapped up.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Freaking Rusty over here on your wife called me Rusty on the podcast. Figured just go ahead and embrace how I really sound in real life. My name's Rusty.
My name's Rusty.
Jerky. She sure did do it.
Are you referring to being rusty in your podcast skills because you missed the last 2 weeks, or is that your name?
My name's Rusty nowadays. I do this thing. It's not quite babyface, but I do this thing sometimes, and it's just how I really sound.
You almost went babyface on me right there.
Oh boy, my babyface. What's up?
That might be my favorite ad from season 1. Maybe.
Oh man, I didn't even think about like favorite thing we did for this episode. That's what I really should have been focusing on. Who cares about this show?
Who cares about the show? It's about us, right?
It's all about us. Now, this is a celebration of us, of the podcast, of the show itself. Not really a celebration of us, of our listeners, of all of you adventurers, you travelers out there. Man, what a day! What
a half a year. Jeez.
Yeah. Pat yourself on the back. Go get yourself a foot rub and come on down for another podcast episode.
Yeehaw. Well, this is going to be a short one, I think. I think we're going to try to wrap this one up so it's not a whole 45 minutes of us chatting about everything we just chatted about for the whole season.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's go ahead and address. I was out for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I was out for like a day. Because I was feeling sick.
And you thought you had COVID.
Well, I
for
tested,
a minute there.
Man, I hope that word doesn't get us like bugged on things.
False information.
Yeah. They didn't say anything. I tested negative.
We get flagged on YouTube for like spreading false information.
We just happened to say COVID in it somewhere. Also, dang, we're not trying to timestamp any of these episodes or tangent at all, but no, I just was feeling a little sick, whatever. I tested negative for COVID. I think it was just a mixture of going to Idaho for a wedding and being up, and I think it was like 5,000 feet of elevation randomly for like 4 days, and then coming back down, and my body was just all over the place.
Oh yeah, last time I went to Colorado, like my body freaked out and I got an ear infection, and like that'll do it to you.
That'll do it. But I wanted to address, the last 2 episodes, just a touch. The first thing I wanted to say is soft people, y'all, both of you two gave soft people such a hard time in their soft town. And I just totally disagree.
You're wrong. Soft people suck.
No,
we named the episode after it.
I disagree.
Soft people suck.
They were about to be my lovely. And then I guess my issue is they wee from their armpits. And that's a little grody, but
that was like the nail in the coffin for me, but they were already dead and in the coffin.
See, the voices didn't really bother me. I was just like, man, I think I talked to you about this when we were watching the next episode's movie, our little special that we got coming up next week. And I was just like, I want to like get an apartment there, get a townhome in the soft town and just like vibe out.
I want you to come back to this moment and not to say this because like, we weren't talking about everything in Adventure Time, but that's just like one of the lamest places so far. Like, there's so many cooler places.
All right, what's your favorite place from season 1?
Ooh, man, favorite place from season 1. I gotta think like it's not actually. I mean, Boom Boom Mountain is kind of cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it does. They actually that village clears out later in the seasons, and that's where the Fire Princess goes to live. You can put a spoiler drop in there.
Spoiler drop.
And honestly, like that just kind of like nestled by a river in between some mountains. It's pretty gorgeous. And then I would say oh gosh, now can't remember the mountains at Cragdor where the Enchiridion is. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Now, Boom Boom Mountain, I'm getting it confused. I did rewatch a lot of my favorite episodes, but I did not rewatch Boom Boom Mountain. That's not the Roughhousing Kingdoms.
Yeah, that's Roughhousing Kingdom is at the base of Boom Boom Mountain.
Okay, well then let's go ahead and address. Later on I was going to do a little bit of a traveler's log bit, And we had a traveler comment, and we never addressed it anywhere, that we missed the mountain's butt.
Oh, no.
And I gotta say, I did go back and just check out the mountain's butt.
The little butt cheeks on the mountain.
Huge butt
cheeks.
You know, like, remember when the girl's just like, no, don't turn
He's like,
around.
don't turn around, I love his back.
I love your backside. But like, he's got these two hills, like, like massive.
So she's like, she likes that donk.
I don't know. I mean, his back is gorgeous. He's got a river going down it and everything, but he's got just a giant butt.
Big old dump truck.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to joke about was the other Traveler's Log email we received was from Go Ogle. And it says, help strengthen your security of your Google account. Wait a second. That was just a Google email.
That was Google verification.
Yeah. We didn't really, people haven't sent us stuff on the Traveler's Log yet, but we'll get there. We believe in y'all. I know we got X number of listeners every week.
Oh, yeah.
So come on, y'all.
Just send in your comments.
Yeah, come on, y'all. What are you doing?
Well, okay. I had an overarching question for you.
Okay.
And I think this is going to come in great context of you having gone back over the episodes and started watching them again and watching them more for just fun and not necessarily taking notes and studying and doing research and all that stuff. But how do you overall feel in terms of more or less a fan? Are you more or less sold on any aspect of the show? And like, what's, again, like the kicker of the show so far for you, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's growing on me. I think this podcast is really forcing me to deep dive in every episode, and that's making me want to watch every episode more so than anything. But I do think there's several episodes that have gone from being, I remember seeing that as a kid, to being like, hey, this is a really fun, good episode of a TV show that, are up there with some of my favorite cartoon episodes, just in general now. So I want to say that the show is definitely something that I am interested in seeing where it goes. And I think it's impressed me overall. I'm not a diehard fan.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta, yeah. I think I was going to say, in terms of since I already know the whole show.
Yeah. But I don't think anyone wants that either. And no one wants me to fake.
Yeah. No one wants you to fake
for a show.
Love it. Well, and I want you to be raw too. Yeah. I want you to shred something apart if it deserves to be shred and give, we wouldn't call it constructive criticism, but criticism where criticism is due, and being like, hey, if you are watching the show through the first time, I agree with you, and this may not be like that good of an episode.
Yeah, there are a couple that stick out to me as episodes that I will never revisit if I don't have to.
Yeah. Me too.
And I actually am curious about that, but I think it's up there. It's slowly becoming more and more of a cartoon that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And I do really enjoy it, but like that I would say are some of my favorite cartoons. It's not there yet, but I think it's growing on me.
Yeah. I'm excited. I cheated and started season 2 the other week, and I was telling you this when we were at the show the other day, and I was like, whoa, season 2 kicks off with a great Marceline episode, and then goes like into a great Ice King episode, and all of a sudden you just feel like everything is canonical. And we've talked about for weeks that like, this doesn't feel canonical. When are they going to bring this character back in? Is this character coming back in? And season 2 is just like, yep, we're here. The characters, their flaws and their personalities, and like you just get thrown right into the belly of the beast, and it's fun. I think it's going to be a lot more fun.
That's awesome, man. I'm really excited for next season. I think what'll be interesting is I've seen all but one of the episodes that I, to memory, know. And so I'm not really sure what to expect from here on out. And every I watched a couple things on YouTube, but like non-spoiler type things. And all of them were just like, oh man, well, after this season, they kind of figure it out and blah, blah, blah. And the iceberg of Adventure Time or whatever, and I'm just like, all right, well, we'll see that. We'll see it when we get there.
Yeah, but I like your analogy, though. I like that iceberg analogy, that a lot of the show, from anybody who hasn't watched it through, you do see the tip of the iceberg, and you're like, oh, I get it. It's like fun animation, it's funny jokes, but then below the surface is like this whole like post-apocalyptic stuff, like deeper world, like growing and developing into from a 12-year-old to an 18-year-old and what goes into that. And that's all beneath the surface. So I'm gonna take that and we're gonna keep using that analogy, I think.
It'll be interesting to see what they do in the future that is planned, that they already had in mind, and what they do in the future that was left open in season 1 on purpose in order to maybe bring it back later on. Mm-hmm. Like, for a great example of this is you mentioned that in the what is it? My Two Best Friends episode, they have what's the name of the kid that Jake ends up texting?
Tiffany.
So Tiffany comes in, and that list of names end up being people later on in the show, or a lot of them do. And I'm just saying, I feel like that probably wasn't planned. I feel like that probably was just something like, hey, we got an episode. Are there any characters we can bring into this? And they go back and they're like, oh, well, we left this open for interpretation or for something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so many good shows and
you kind of got to do
movies.
That.
You have to do that. And then when you're making more canon off of it, like, I mean, take Star Wars, for instance. Like, Han Solo made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Like, that was such like probably a geeky little thing George Lucas should have thrown in there. And then they go and make a whole movie premise off it like 30 years later, you know?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't like George Lucas didn't plan on that being a movie later on. But there are certain shows and movies and books and stuff that do that, where they're like, I guess movies isn't the best thing, but I guess movies in a series where they're like, man, from the get-go, like, we planned out everything. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. But it's also, it's a fun kids cartoon, and not every episode's really meant to be taken super seriously. So I am curious, what episode could you do without this season?
I think the season finale. I think
really
that was the only one where, even for prepping for a podcast, I went back and watched it and I was like, I remember this episode, but I don't remember the soft people. I remember the sharp people because they have an episode of their own later. But the gut grinder one, I was just like, literally, you could have thrown this in here as episode 5.
Yeah.
And I still would have been like, okay, little fun adventure. But it kind of just got under my skin that they capped it off.
Yeah,
with that,
I agree. I think the gut grinder episode you could probably do with.
I know DJ Cowboy Hat disagreed. He said it kind of left it open ended. Yeah. And I agree with you, Mike.
I guess I was sort of ashamed and yet sort of glad that I was the one for the worst episode.
Yeah, well, you also played a very healthy devil's advocate there too.
Do you have an episode that is your least favorite from the season? Well, I love putting you on blast because, one, it's like, is he paying attention? And then 2, you weren't ready for this question.
I definitely wasn't ready for the question, but I try to pay attention. I think that I am. That remains to be seen. The least favorite,
just keep asking you randomly.
Man, I don't want to just agree with Ned, but like, that was like the whole point of our conversation was that episode. It was just like, and we talked about how I kind of binged the show. Like, that episode is very forgettable. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I think the other ones for me are the Jiggler episode. Mm-hmm. I really don't think I'm ever going to revisit that one. It doesn't do anything special. It's like a storyline that everybody's done before. When the wedding bells thaw. Another one that I could care less about. And Donnie is the other one that I was like, the Wild Wolves are dope. But otherwise, it's like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, and in each of those, I mean, it was kind of, I see a similar tie to that, where it was like, we're hanging out, there's a problem, we face adversity, trying to solve the problem, then we solve the problem. And there's nothing too deep. Now, I enjoyed the other episodes more for podcasting purposes, because I remember the Jiggler.
There's interesting stuff in them. Yeah.
Well, we both were like, okay, yeah, I could do that without this episode. But then we were able to dig into conversation and dig into, like the family mentality and the lack of father figure or whatever. We had a whole discussion on that. And so if you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to it. Because we pulled a lot of meat out of it.
I don't think any of those were bad episodes, even on our end. Like, maybe someone thinks they are, but I think like they were decent episodes. I think we did a good job, or the best job we could with them. I just don't think, as far as shows that I want to listen to on my own, that I'm going to really spend any amount of time checking those out.
No, I don't blame you. I think if I were to do a whole season 1 watch through, I would skip Jiggler. Maybe When Wedding Bells Thaw.
Yeah, it can be good.
But
Well, okay. I will say this though. One I came around on a little bit on my kind of rewatch or whatever, and I just kind of skimmed this one. Ricardio.
Yeah, but Ricardio's like, I guess, kind of an important, not like important.
That's what I was going to say, but then I thought about it and I was like, hateable character, sure, Ricardio, but necessary episode.
I still don't like him at all, like what you're saying, but I do think the episode itself is written really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just think the way the episode flows, I mean, really, it's mostly that. I just think it's like structured really well. That there's a good amount of foreshadowing in 11 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You get a cohesive story that is interesting and intriguing.
And then a really good like apex of the whole story too. Like
Yeah,
a really good like bust into the room and they were right and he's evil the whole time, and like a really good way to end it.
And maybe my dislike for Ricardio is because the voice acting is so good.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what I'm really also coming around on, is that like the things I didn't like about it, they were on purpose, and I think, I don't know. I think I'm coming around on that episode just a little bit, but not enough for it to be on my top 10 list of favorite episodes from the season.
Yeah. Then what would be your top episodes of the season? What are the
I got
tops?
a top 10.
You got a top.
Yeah.
Oh, you got top 10.
I have a top
man, that's
10.
like half the season.
We'll run through it. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like so much of the season. We'll skip pretty fast up until 5, and maybe we can talk about those 5 if that's cool with you. 10, Rainy Day Daydream. I think good episode.
Mm-hmm.
9, my two favorite people. 8, Henchmen. 7, His Hero. 6, Trouble in Lumpy Space. 5 is Evicted, which Marceline.
I'm surprised I didn't make it higher up your list there.
I think the other episodes are just so good and so memorable that I just like, as much as I do like Marceline, part of it is kind of it's silly, it's not really a joke. She is great, but it is a little bit of like for the podcast in some ways, I guess. But I don't know. It's a fun episode. 4 is Slumber Party Panic.
Yeah.
I think
kicks it off great.
So good. Yeah. It's good. It's introducing so many characters. It's got such a great vibe.
Well, it's amazing that they could do that with no context behind it,
Yeah, and also I see what you point at.
Yeah,
I don't even want to skip over that. That's
you said introduction of characters off the beginning of the season, but you're like, oh my gosh, that was like
you hadn't met nobody.
And
here's a show, and here are a ton of characters, but it's still intriguing, and you're not like overwhelmed with everything. And I think part of the reason it feels so much like Adventure Time, like what we had discovered, was it wasn't the first episode written. It's like they kind of knew what they were doing at that point, and it just was the first episode they released or whatever.
Yeah, and I thought that was smart. It was smart because I feel like there was other episodes where it may not have involved Princess Bubblegum, but it's important to know that like Finn's kind of this hero of a candy kingdom, and that's kind of like his purpose, and the not whole purpose, but you get that whole like he's protecting a princess and her people.
So number 3 is Dungeon,
mm-hmm.
which I think we all probably really enjoyed.
That's my number 1.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's my number 1.
What's your favorite part about Dungeon?
I like the really getting to know about Finn and Jake and how they adventure, because I think that's really important in the show,
and why the two of them
and why they have
so much.
Because otherwise it was kind of like up until that point you're like, okay, stretchy dog with unlimited powers and a kid with a sword, like what's the play there? And the play is that there's so many other tasks and types of evil out there that brute strength and magic aren't going to defeat,
I think what the real reason is Finn can't do key hand.
Can't do key.
And so he needs Jake
apparently Jake can't do key hand very often either.
Key hand, lock hand. Dude, number 2 is the Enchiridion episode.
That was my number 2.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's a dang good episode. There's not much I even have to say about it. I just really enjoy that episode. Mark Hamill's in it, and what's not to like? You know? Can you guess number 1?
After all that, man, I would have said Dungeon, Enchiridion, or Evicted were what I thought might be your number 1s. You had trouble on. Was it Billy?
No. Billy was His Hero was number 7.
Oh, sorry. You already mentioned that one.
Wizard.
Wizard, I think, is in my top 5. I liked it, but why that over Dungeon?
It's just got so many cool powers. It's also my tops for the season. Is the wizard powers.
Is when he comes out ultimate wizard with like tiger claw, sword
No,
hand,
it's everything
angel
before
wings.
that. It's the
Unlimited
getting of the
mayonnaise.
powers, unlimited mayonnaise, the shadowmancing, the like rest, and then the moment when Jake's just like, what is it that Finn does to Jake? He casts some sort of a spell on him, and then Jake, as asleep, just kind of like repels it somehow. Like,
Yeah.
And then that spell, I think it was awaken or something like that, like makes something come to life. Like, there are just little moments in that episode that are so fun. And also that you have to, like, the hardest trial is the very beginning. You got to eat an entire broom.
And then everything else was really easy after
and
that.
The power sucked. It was like Dustmancy or whatever.
Dustmancy.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. So Wizard was my favorite episode. And I had seen that one as a kid as well. So not as a kid, high school.
That brought back at least that like baby bit of nostalgia. Yeah.
But Dungeon did too. And so did Enchiridion. I think I had seen all three of those. Like Dungeon less so because it's a little creepy. But that was my tops of the season was the Wizarding powers.
Oh man, that's a good tops, man. I think I would put his hero a little higher on my list. I would put Boom Boom Mountain on there, maybe in a top 10.
Yeah, it's a fun episode. I actually did rewatch that one.
Yeah, and it's fun because it's like Finn solving a problem, but it has nothing to do with fighting evil. And I think that Adventure Time's really best episodes are not like what the Gut Grinder was, where it's like, oh, here's evil, and we're going to defeat the evil, and it's hard, and then we finished. It's those ones where like Finn's solving this like almost like a puzzle, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a tops for the season, do you think?
Oh, man. I just think that Rainy Day Daydream and kind of getting, like going through the treehouse on a rainy day, for some reason that just like warms me. Yeah, it's at that vibe. And I like that vibe. Like that's the vibe I want to be in, like that cozy in the house vibe when I'm watching the show.
I just don't feel like we're going to, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like this show will get to a point where we never have those episodes. Like, I really have no clue, but my guess is that it gets more serious and it gets, I don't know. We'll see.
They cut it up really well. So they'll do a really serious episode and then it's followed by like BMO makes friends with a bubble. And then you're thrown off because you're just like, oh my gosh, I just like watched Finn go through his first heartbreak, and then BMO is best friends with a bubble the next episode, and you just it throws you for a loop. But that kind of keeps you on your toes.
That's awesome.
And no spoilers. It alludes to the wrap up of the show, I think, and it all kind of plays into the wrap up of the show. Which so I'm not gonna, maybe for my fans out there, they'll maybe get what I'm saying. But
I think if we ever needed to have a moment on the podcast where it's like, hey, Russell, walk away, and you go like, we'll put a timer on or something like that for people to like fast forward like a minute exactly. And it's like, Ned's going to go deep in the spoilers because this
and you
needs
walk
to be
out of the room.
And I just leave for a minute, or whatever. I think that might be something we start doing.
Yeah, that could
maybe not a little bit more, but a little like we'll make it a segment where it's like not a spoiler drop, but it's like a spoiler bomb or something.
Nettie's deep dive.
Yeah, Nettie's deep
DJ
dive.
Nettie P's deep dive.
Yeah, man, we'll see.
All right, so we were talking about tops and top episodes, so I need to know your top lovely.
Give me some sugar, baby.
My top lovely, Jake the dog.
Oh man, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, give me like just reasoning. Jake gets it.
There's no reason. I didn't even write down. I have no notes on it. I'm just like Jake the dog is my lovely
dude. Gut feeling, I love it.
Gut feeling. He just. Every episode, he's lovable, he's goofy, he's endearing, he's a great friend. He can be bad sometimes, bad dog or whatever, but he's a great character. And I think, honestly, I like Jake more than I like, obviously, he's my lovely, more than I like Finn, more than I like Marceline.
I love that you bring that up because I almost had the opposite of that written in my notes, that I think before we started the podcast, Jake would have been my ultimate lovely of the first season. But the more that we talked through it, the more I realized that Jake-isms, at least in this season, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like some of his nonchalance, I'm like, that's good in some situations, and it does help Finn out to like, Jake's like, hey, like chill out for a little while, dude. But other times it's like Finn's suffering and Finn's going through some hard, or and he does that in his hero episode. He's like, Finn's going through some hard stuff, dude. But then other times I'm like, especially in Witch's Garden, like that's the reason why Jake lost my lovely of season 1. It was really
he can be really
in
lazy.
Witch's Garden.
I think he's even in that episode though. I feel like he's just the most realistic character in the show.
Maybe more reflective of who we are.
Yeah, because none of us are Finns.
Yeah.
Like none of us, I mean, I don't know. Just none of us are any of those characters. Jake is the one that I feel like a lot of times plays this kind of like, here's what the audience is thinking character.
It really does. Like, and it's more of like a reflective of maybe you would do the same thing
or he's
in this
flawed.
situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's flawed too. We're all flawed. Like he's lazy. Shoot, I'm lazy. Like
yeah. It makes it, even though he's a talking dog with magic powers, more of a relatable character.
Yeah. Well, who's your lovely?
My lovely is still BMO.
BMO is
only the few extra scenes that BMO's in season 1. It's just like that is Adventure Time. The little like, who wants to play conversation parade?
He was up there for me. I almost said it.
BMO. Yeah. And there's so many more good BMO episodes, so I have a little bit of a bias, but I can't not say that like every moment BMO's on screen in season 1, I'm just like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, even in the what is the house hunting episode where they're doing like a little song or whatever, and
conversation parade.
Well,
no, that was Rainy Day.
Yeah, it's they're doing the song for Marceline, and it's like they're house hunting or whatever, and there's a moment where she's just like, hold on, I'm playing this really cute video game, and I'm just like, you're playing BMO.
Hey, it's BMO.
Like, it's just, little BMO moments. He's so much better than Nepter. Like, he's like the best robot, without a doubt, on the show. Nepter, I don't know. I feel like even Finn and Jake just kind of like Finn made Nepter, and his whole purpose is just like, I don't know, pranking.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, he's not even the best pranker. The best pranker are the balloons in that episode. Like, I don't know. It just, that annoyed me. But
yeah, Nepter has some redeeming episodes coming up, but still, you're kind of like, kind of there's a reason why we don't see Nepter all the time.
Yeah, and I, talking about Marceline, not my sexiest character of the season.
Do I need to take a guess?
Oh, it's Mr. Cupcake. Just
Mr.
kidding. It's
Cupcake.
It is Marceline. But Mr. Cupcake is so good.
So close to calling you out there, Russell.
Who had Marceline as his phone background for weeks?
It's definitely Marceline. But Mr. Cupcake is, when I was rewatching that first episode, I was just like, he does go full nude. And we don't see a lot of full nude on this show.
Even if it's just a chocolate cupcake.
Yeah, it was the rapper, and then he's chocolate or whatever.
I didn't know you were chocolate.
Your lovely went full nude the whole season.
Wait, who did?
No, Mr. Cupcake always has
Jake.
his wrapper on.
No, Jake didn't. He's got the invisible sweatshirt or whatever.
His silk pants.
Yeah, silk pants.
Very spun silk pants.
Gosh, I really haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, take this this microphone away from this guy. Jeez.
Oh, man.
What's your sexiest character, Ned?
Oh, sexiest character. I'm going to have to run through that one.
All right. Well, we'll come back to it after my most punchable.
Yeah.
Guardian Angel. Bom, bom, bom.
Guardian Angel that's like, I'm going to eat your soul.
Yeah, she's creepy. I want to punch her in the face.
Yeah.
Just so punchable.
I'd say Magic Man's my most punchable.
Magic Man. It's almost the same thing that you just did for... anyways. For something earlier in this conversation we've had.
I like Magic Man episodes,
yeah,
but he's so outlandish that like it's the thing that you just get like a little white knuckled when you're like dealing with him.
I like how ridiculous he is.
The ridiculousness, but I try to put it into perspective and be like, what? Just trying to have a conversation with a person like that, I'd
horrible.
Like punch you in immediately.
Yeah, you never would want to.
That or second most punchable character for me would have to be the mermaid from the Trash River.
Oh gosh, yeah, ugly.
Not for me.
Yeah, not for me either. I don't think anyone's into that.
No,
I
hope
she
not.
She thought it though. She was just like, "Look how sexy I am," or whatever she said.
Are you gonna Rule 43 that one?
I am not going to Google that while we're sitting here real fast. I actually don't even know her name, so that would fail. It would come up with something that I don't even want to know. Man, what is the last? Oh yeah, damn, we went through all that already, man. This is good. What do you expect? Like, what can we expect from next season?
From next season, I think you can expect kind of what I said at the beginning is more not reintroductions, but episodes revolved around characters that appeared with Finn and Jake, and there being a little bit more episodes where they're the main focus, where we're not only just focused on Finn and Jake, but that we are going into this deeper Adventure Time universe.
Yeah, we're fleshing out the world.
Yeah, so episode 2 is an Ice King episode, and Finn and Jake are in it, but it really almost like even when you see camera focus, like it is focusing on it's what Ice King's doing when he wakes up in the morning, and this is what he's doing, like his next little like shenanigans, but his shenanigans don't involve Finn and Jake until they get involved.
Interesting.
So I like that aspect, that we go off on different trails of different characters, and that's where it starts to like you get to see that expanding universe. Kind of, it doesn't always have to be like Finn and Jake on an adventure. You know,
are there any new characters that you can kind of tease or old ones that are going to stand out to us moving forward?
I mean, Marceline's going to always stand out to you.
Well, all right, no, come on. Come on, I'm dating someone.
This is not a spoiler drop because it's the season 2, episode 1. We meet Marceline's dad, and he's
the devil.
He's basically the devil.
Oh, no way.
Basically,
that's
he runs
a little cliche.
A kingdom called the Nightosphere, which is basically hell.
Okay, there we go.
I'm looking over.
Interesting,
here.
Marceline. You're a good guy. What's up with that? Good girl and bad dad.
Good girl, bad dad. Well, and she's kind of not always good, you know.
Marceline, she's a good girl. Sorry.
Loves her dad.
Her dad.
We're going to get sued.
Her dad is evil.
I don't think we get sued unless we make money off this.
No, and also that wasn't enough.
It got to be more than 7 seconds, I think.
15, I believe.
15? Oh, man, we can do so much more stuff.
I don't know. We'd have to look into
terrifying.
That. But
Please
also,
don't.
I think this, I think that qualifies as parody law anyways.
Also, one of my favorite episodes of Adventure Time is coming up in the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
Called The Eyes. I'm just going to leave it at that.
The Eyes. Yeah. What could that be referring to?
A big old fat horse.
A big old...
That's all it is. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to make you excited. I'm giving you the breadcrumbs. You just got to follow them. Come here, my pretty.
I don't know if I'm that excited by that, but I'll take it. Oh man. Is there anything else about season 2 that you're excited about or want to talk about before we start wrapping this up?
No, my thing I want to talk about is getting to it, man. Let's get after it. Like, let's freaking tear it apart. And I feel like we're going to roll with this season so much easier and be like, oh, we want, like, some of these episodes this season, I was like, okay, this is such a bizarre episode. Like, well, we got to dig deep into it. Mm-hmm. I think this one's just, we're going to flow. We're going to sit there and be like, okay, we got to wait to the podcast to talk about this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm excited about that. I think it's already kind of getting that way, with every episode. I'm like excited about the day. I was going to say my favorite moment from this season, though, was just like, I remember getting that first episode back from Michael and just being like, man, like, we could actually do this.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, it kind of felt that way where it's just like, all right, like less nervous, still some nerves or whatever. But after we got that episode back and I was like we don't sound terrible.
Yeah.
And
that was our worst sound setup we did that day too.
Yeah. That was just you on like what was that microphone?
We had this one and something.
It was just like a microphone a singer would use. Man, I am so technically savvy. I love it.
We're still upgrading too, which is the nice part.
Slowly, one of us has headphones on this episode.
Feeling fancy. I was going to say, like, in terms of my favorite part was we sat down at a coffee shop in late December and we mapped this out.
Frothy Monkey.
Yeah, we were sitting at the Frothy Monkey in Nashville, Tennessee, and
Nettie's Factoids. This is what this is.
Nate,
right
this
now.
is the factoid of the podcast.
Yeah.
That we and we were mapping this all out. We were talking about budgets. We were talking about podcast distributors. We were talking about cadence for releases. We were talking all this stuff. And like even when we had all that stuff on paper, I've had a lot of things in my life that I've planned and I've mapped. And you know, you get two or three rounds in, and you're like, yeah, I just drop it out. Like, but I think like that you said that kind of tied in with that moment of getting the delivery of the first one, it launching on Spotify too, because we probably had about 6 episodes.
Yeah, we did
in the books before we started distributing, and so
I had no clue what the reception would be, but we knew there was that like 7 episode like filter that happens for people. So we were like, maybe we just get way ahead of the game. We'll get past that filter at least, and see where this goes. But we're 27 in.
Yeah,
this is episode 27 right here.
28.
27, dude. 26 was Gut Grinder.
It's 27. No, because we did this. Oh wait, I thought. What
this
about
is
the
special episode?
No, but what about the Shrek
no,
special?
that was NEA. Yeah, because we did 2 on episode 3 or 2 or whatever.
Oh, you're right. We did a double to start the season off. So this is episode 27.
Episode 27. NEA 27.
NEA 27, y'all. So it's been a blast, and it's that's been the fun part. Is like it was getting it all together. Weeks of recording, weeks of doing the work, weeks of DJ Cowboy Hat tweaking everything to like make us sound really good. And then it was that first release date when we could like share on Instagram and share with friends and be like, we've got a thing we did, which was really cool,
Yeah. And I said from the get-go, the only reason I'm doing this is the money. And let me tell you, I have made nothing from it so far.
But a couple of laughs and a couple of friends.
Yeah, totally worth it. My wallet is dusty.
Dusty. It's Dusty Rusty wallet.
Dusty Rusty. Freaking, I've been looking for a nickname for this dang podcast, and Jackie had to say the one thing I dislike. She's just like, well, thanks for Rusty not being here, whatever it was that she said. And then she apologized, and I was like, don't apologize. There's no amount of apology.
Yeah.
On my podcast. You come in here on my podcast.
On my podcast.
And call me Rusty, jerky.
Jerky.
Jerky and nerd. That's my
sure, yeah, I've got
names for y'all.
That one slides right off, man. I've gotten that since I was little.
Nedrick.
I've gotten Nettie Buttercup is what.
Nettie Buttercup.
That was the one that stuck for a while in elementary school. That was brutal.
Somehow you ended up with DJ Nettie P. My favorite part, someone else, my roommate actually mentioned this we don't tangent on this podcast, but my roommate the other day was like, I just saw that Ned's wife's Instagram handle is the same handle of his. And I was like, so's the dog.
So is the dogs.
Yeah. And I was just like, he was like, man, I kind of love that. Like their marriage is on brand. And I'm like, it is.
On brand.
It is on brand.
Man.
That's, and that's a dude who's like working all the time, artist management stuff. So he's like, his mindset is that. And I just love that that's like,
family
for
branding.
whatever reason, he was just like, he like pulled me aside. He's like, Russell, like, I was just like, yeah.
He's like, you got to have a brand, Russell.
Yeah. Get a brand.
You got to have a Russell brand.
Russell brand.
Russell.
You see what I did there?
Oh, rough.
Rough.
On TikTok, I think it's like, what is it? Russell or NEA podcast, Russell or something like that. Russell NEA podcast. I don't know. That's not really a brand. This podcast is not my brand.
This podcast is not my brand.
Man, do you have any questions for me about season 1?
I have more like, what are you more looking forward to in season 2? And if you were to drop a theoretically speaking.
I thought about this. I don't have one.
You don't have any theoretical speakings for me for like what?
This is my biggest flaw of this episode is that I really wanted to plan out a super dope theoretically speaking. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect because they could go in so many ways. I imagine it's just going to go kind of straightforward and we're just going to keep going on this thing with Finn and Jake. I don't really think anything mind-blowing is about to happen. I think it's way too early in the show for a huge plot twist or something like that. Like I think we're just going to keep going. I'm really not looking forward to the Lynch coming back. I know he's like a big character in some way. He's terrifying looking. But But theoretically speaking, I think at some point we're gonna see a limit to Jake's powers, which we've kind of seen in some episodes. I think we're gonna learn a little bit more about Finn's flaws, and I think he's gonna grow a little bit next year. He's a year older, or next season he's a year older, so that'll be fun. But like, something as I was watching just random YouTube videos, something I really loved was someone pointed out that, Finn's flaw of being afraid of the ocean, he never overcame that. And so I'm excited to see
more like ocean fear.
Stuff like that. It doesn't have to be ocean fear, but just like things that like make him not a hero,
Yeah. Well, and that's like, it's humanizing Finn, and you want to see more. And I think the most humanized that Finn gets in the episodes, we start realizing that that's when all the development happens. That's like when he starts becoming more of a man and less of a boy.
All right, here it is. Here's my theoretically speaking. Finn gets married and has a kid. Actually, no, he has a kid out of wedlock, and then they get married. And season 2 is all about him like adapting as a father.
Ooh, I like that. There's one episode that we'll get to. It's probably really far away at this point, but that kind of happens.
Ben has a kid. Heck yeah, dude. There's so many ways you can avoid that.
Spoiler drop. So bad.
There's so many ways you can avoid having a kid. He's young. Schools these days, they do a terrible job teaching sex education. He's just unfortunately, he's just a figure now. In season 2, he's just going to be a number. Part of the flawed society that we all live in.
Jeez, getting dark with that.
I'm just playing. I don't know. I don't have any theories.
No. That's good. That means you're open-minded, I think.
You might get a girlfriend next season.
Yeah.
Cool.
We start to see that that's more on his mind, with all the ladies like being like, Finn, you're so cute.
All of them. This whole season.
He kind of starts to play into that more when he develops. So,
nice.
Dude, you're like everything you just said. You're like, oh, it's not theoretically speaking, but everything you just said, I'm like, then that's why you're gonna like the show, because everything you're saying, and like you get little snippets of all that moving forward.
Man, let's do lessons and start wrapping this up. How about it?
Yeah, lesson me up.
Do you have a lesson? You go first.
I go first?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to have a chance to like think a little deeper.
Right,
to think deeper on my lesson. Because
also I had beef with you from whatever episode that was when I sent that text message saying this is how, season finale, how I wanted the season finale to end.
He wanted me to do
never ending adventure. Yeah, but it's okay. It's fine. It's it was just I thought it was a really important part where we bonded over the podcast, but apparently not. No, I'm just playing. My lesson.
I'm not even gonna say anything to that.
We already talked about this off the podcast. You gave me a hard time, and honestly, I think everybody.
Y'all should see the way he texted it to me. It was very cryptic.
Everybody in the room agreed with you. Whatever. My lesson. So let's see. I just got a list of things we've learned from this season. We learned not to take advice from little girls or old people. We learned to always trust strangers that are offering you free things. We learned to embrace your inner turbo nerd. We also learned how to kiss princesses on the lip, always lip to lip. The importance of willpower, and more importantly, we both learned how fun and rewarding it can be to pursue a creative passion with one of your best good buddies.
Aww. Tears.
Oh, man. I got cinnamon.
Is
that your... Yo, Bill Cosby. Get off this podcast, Bill Cosby. What are you doing? Get out of here.
Adventure time in the pudding pops.
Oh, man. I thought you could end this season without me coming back. Oh, what's up, Ned? How's it going?
Lesson I learned. Me and Russell are both terrible at doing accents in voice acting.
Well, next season we're going to hire actual voice actors.
Yeah, we're going to use all that money we're making from the podcast to hire actual voice actors to do our ads.
No, maybe not.
And then, overarching lesson, man, we really learned that you have to find your counterpart in life and adventure with them.
Marry them. Marry your podcast partner.
And it's very, what do you call that? Symbiotic, where both people. Oh, Russell's engaged. He's proposing right now.
Got down on a knee.
Got down it on his knee.
First time I've ever done that.
Not the last.
Maybe one day.
But and then we learned that butts are awesome.
Butts are important.
Butts need to be included and talked about in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think if we were to take like what we learned from the show, like the episodes of the show, but what we learned and what I apply to my life is like this sense of maintaining like childlike fun. I wasn't gonna say childlike wonder because that sounds cheesy and like, but like literally just like, dude, if you want to say like slam bam, slap a cow, like just say it. Like we put on so many veils of like what it means to be an adult or grown up, or this is childish or this is stupid. And I think just being like, F it, we ball, like is a great mentality.
Yeah. What was that?
Fuck it, we ball.
F it, we ball.
Now we can mark this episode as explicit,
it's explicit.
guys.
Oh, man, the big payoff. Everybody sees explicit every week, and they're like, when's Nick going to say something?
that was it.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's good. I like it. Yeah,
Russell, do you want to send us out here?
Yeah, let me send this out. I don't know if this ended up being a short episode or not.
Might have been long.
Sorry,
it's all
about
good.
That.
Hey, that means all that means is we had good stuff to talk about.
It might have been good. Y'all, thank you so much. A whole freaking season of this dang show. In the dang doggone shot darn books. Y'all, woo! I'm so pumped. My name is Russell. Y'all can check us out. Thank you so much. Like I say it every week, but follow us, review us, please. There's so many of you.
For the love of God.
If I don't see
100 people that are watching us every week are not going to write a damn review on Apple Podcasts.
If I don't see the gosh dang reviews, I'm going to be whooping some ass. I'm just sorry. That's my impression of what's his face from Always Sunny.
From Charlie from Always Sunny.
Charlie, yeah. Dude, there was a freaking guy on YouTube I was watching today, and he sounded just like Charlie. And I was like, I cannot listen to you, man. Like,
he probably has no friends.
He's got like 100,000 subscribers. Anyways, y'all check us out. Just, y'all already are. But Instagram at Neverending Adventure Podcast, TikTok at Neverending Adventure Cast, Twitter at NEA_podcast. Email. Apparently, I'm going to have to spell this one out for you. I'm going to start bullying our travelers. I'm just playing. At nea.travelerslog@gmail.com. And just stick around for another awesome season coming up, season 2. And next week, Ned, what do we got?
We got Scooby Frickin' Doo on Zombie Island.
Halloween episode. We got a Halloween episode.
Special. We got the spooks. We got the
Yeah. Could you guess which one of us wanted a Scooby-Doo episode?
It was Rusty.
It was definitely me. And it's going to be a gosh dang good time.
I hope so.
Well, we'll see. We're about to record it.
We're going to do it. Send it home. Love that you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, this is Michael. Thanks for listening to Season 1, and we hope you enjoyed the review. The boys are going to take a week off, and then we have a special spooky episode coming up for you. And after that, we'll just continue on with Season 2. Thanks for going on this adventure with us.